Hello mate, what you saying? Again, I'm Joe, Lonesome Dog Studios, and today we're talking about FM synthesis. Last time we talked about subtractive synthesis, so let's listen to some sounds. So, FM synthesis. Remember in the last video we were speaking about how LFO can affect certain parameters within your synthesizer. Now, essentially, with FM synthesis, you are applying a frequency modulation to a wave. So, essentially, you're altering the pitch with an LFO, but the LFO is within the human hearing range. So you start to get some really interesting colors coming out. So let's listen to some of the sounds that I've designed, and we're going to talk about how we get there, essentially. Okay, so, excuse the long chain. Let's open up EFM1 and we'll go from the start. Okay, so, an overview of this synth quickly. The way FM synthesis works, as I said before, you have a wave, which we call our carrier wave, and it is affected by our modulator, which is essentially the wave that is affecting the frequency of the carrier wave. So in EFM1, you don't have the ability to change the waveform of the carrier. So let's hear what that sounds like. You have this sound. Let's initialize the settings. Bring it all down to 0. That's fine. Okay, great. So this is what we're hearing at the moment. So this is our starting tone. Now, the way we can affect, I guess, essentially the frequencies that are coming out of this instrument are by affecting the harmonics of the carrier and the modulator. So this harmonic section essentially applies to, instead of using individual pitches, the synth goes through and selects different harmonics from the harmonic series of the fundamental frequency of the pitch that you're playing. So essentially what that means is you have this sound. This is when the harmonic is on 0, move it up to 1. It's using a harmonic that is an octave above, harmonic 2. Ooh. Another octave, 3. You know, and so on. It sort of goes up. With that kind of effect going on. Now, currently, no FM synthesis has been applied, so let's add some in, shall we? So we'll bring it back down to 0, so we've got something sensible. Now the modulator is affecting the carrier wave. And very quickly, you start to get this really high-pitched, buzzy sound. You know, it can get really interesting. Now, the good thing about FM synthesis is it's great for making more natural sounds, because where you have the ability to use inharmonic ratios from your fundamental frequency, like, for example, so we have this sound, you know, it's your basic sine wave going on. Okay, then you have this effect. Okay, so now what we can do is we can use our modulation envelope to affect this parameter in the middle. So you get that like sound, you know. Now we're starting to get into the slightly more usable, musical, classic FM kind of sound. Equally, you know, you have your LFO here, which is the ability to affect vibrato or FM, and we're going to leave it on FM because that's how we're getting these crazy sounds. You see how you have that movement. Bump it up. Equally, in EFM1, you have a wave controller for your modulator. This allows you to bring in some more bright harmonics like we was doing yesterday. You know, cycling through from a sine tone all the way to, I believe this is a sawtooth. So you may notice EFM1 doesn't have a filter, and essentially that's because with FM synthesis, the process is additive rather than subtractive, you know, so you're constantly adding more harmonics, usually upper harmonics to your sound. So instead of, say, for example, having a low pass filter and getting rid of those upper harmonics, you're just not putting them in there in the first place, essentially. Okay, so let's make some of these horrible sounds, shall we? So let's learn how to make this classic foghorn sound that's been around drum and bass for the last 3-4 years, whatever. But before we do that, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more music production content. Anyway, so I'm going to take off all the effects. And that's essentially the sound we're looking for. So, again, let's open up our EFM1. Now, to make this sound, I typically tend to start with a much lower pitch. And that's because it allows me to pick out upper harmonics that match in a way that I like. You know, you can mess around with this. There's really no rules to this. I'm just telling you how I do it. So we are going to loop this. Bring that in. Get this in. Initialize that. Apologies. There we go. Bring that back to. So we have that. There we go. And we're going to lift this one up too. Okay, there you go. You see we're starting to get those raspy sounds now. So I got the harmonic for the carrier on 4, harmonic for the modulator on 8, FM about, let's say, 11 o'clock. Let's pick up that modulator as well. We're going to make the wave a bit more nasty. Bring in some of those upper harmonics. There we go. That's starting to get a bit dirty now. Let's push up the FM depth on the modulation envelope. That's starting to get there. Bring down the sustain so we start to get a bit of movement. Oops. Bring it back up. There we go. How much does that sound like what we started with? We're getting there. So we're going to we're going to push up this. A bit of attack. Bit of attack on the module. So it has that stab. Going to make it nice and thick. Maybe dial this back a bit. Okay, now we've got that. Let's look at our volume envelope. So we want the sound to be a bit longer. Make sure you're affecting the modulation envelope too, and pushing up the volume. Okay, great. I like that. So now what do? We distort the out of it. Bang. Oh, I like to start with a bit crusher. I think that's quite a nice distortion. Pull that down to 12-bit. Bring the mix down to 25. Take that volume down. Bump this up. So get more harmonics coming in there. Followed by second stage of distortion. Go for halves. Drive it. So you want to crush that sound. So nice and percussive. Then a bit of exciter again. More top end frequencies. And finally a little bit of reverb. So we have the sound as a stabby sound. We can extend it. And essentially, this is how you start your foghorn sound. After this, you know, you can modulate, add LFOs, add effects over the top. But this is the foundations that you need to start to understand this sound. I'm going to play this in the track so we can sort of get a reference of it. I want it a bit shorter for the start. A bit shorter for the start of this track. Bring that down a bit. it's a bit more stabby. Add a bit of this. Bring that down, I think. Okay, I like that sort of sound, and we're going to see what that sounds like inside the track. Get rid of current Foghorn. Get a little stab at the start. Another one down here so we can hear it, what it sounds like. And it comes through like... one more time over here. There you have it, FM synthesis. That will start you off. Again, you know, have fun, experiment with all of these ideas. I've only got 4 like effects on here, but you can see in the one I use for the track, boom, how many is that? At least 50, 100. So do the same. And again, resample, bounce out, mess around with the audio, you know, go crazy with it. I mean, that's what you want to do. So if you've liked this video, then give it a like, comment in the section below, you know, tag us in anything that you're making with this knowledge, because we want to hear it. We want to know what you're doing. Subscribe to the channel, and I'm sure our Facebooks and our Instagram are all over the screen at the moment. So make sure you click through to them and check out what we're doing over there. So thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.